Yo, what is up guys? This is Troy D from the Torino25 Mall channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. We are back again, everybody. We're back with another fragrance review right here, guys, on my day off. And today we will be talking about the latest and last Xerjoff Torino fragrance. That's right. This is the last one in the series, and I'm sure a lot of y'all want to know what this fragrance smells like, being that it's the last one out there. Let's talk about it. Let's go. Now, before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys, okay? Liking, subscribing, and watching the ads is a great big deal to this channel as we head towards 27,000 subscribers. So please continue all your support, guys. Deep dive into my over 900 no-hype videos and shop at our affiliate links and with our friends of the channel. It greatly helps us. Thank you so much for all your support. And the fragrance that we'll be talking about today is none other than Xerjoff Torino25. Yes, Xerjoff Torino25 official sample right here. Came in the box that I got for 20-something euros, super cheap, to try out these amazing Xerjoff fragrances. I got the whole sketchbook line. I mean, the bottles of that are about like maybe 3K total, but I only paid like 20 bucks to try them and test them and review them. And you know, Torino25 was the 4th sample in the box. And when I was at Xerjoff 6th floor, Costas, and he said, you know, hey, you know what? We don't have it here, but I want to let you know you got to try this new Xerjoff Torino because it's pretty damn good. And looking at the online response to this fragrance, it seems like people are ranking this a close second to Torino 21, which is of course the blockbuster release of this whole lineup. They are saying that this fragrance is number 2, which is pretty crazy, right? Considering that there's 5 of them. Anyways, guys, today I will break this down. Why is this, well, beloved? It seems like it is beloved by those people that are faithful to the Torino series. Why is it so good to them? I will tell you guys on this video. Let's go spray this thing right now. This is almost done and the sprayer's kind of weak, so I'll go kind of extra on this. Okay guys, now let's talk about this fragrance right here, the latest Torino fragrance, the latest and last from the series Torino 25. Now real quickly, let's do a recap of the series since this is the last one, guys, okay? So Torino 21 to me was the most popular, most viral, probably the most sold. I mean, it literally started the series. I mean, if Torino 21 wasn't as good, I don't even think there would be any Torino 22, 23, 24, 25. And that's because Torino 21 was an easy to understand fragrance, a fresh spearmint, easy to understand fragrance. And that's really the battle that I think fragrance companies have. It's the risk of complexity versus clarity. And in this case, Torino 21, easy to talk about, easy to understand, easy to tell the next person what it's going to be like. And then the other fragrances were not, in my opinion. And that's why I think Torino 21 stood out amongst the rest. Not saying the rest were bad or lackluster. They just weren't easy to talk about, right? They were more complex than Torino 21. This one right here, the last Torino, in my opinion, is a juxtaposition of all those fragrances. Right here in the opening, you are going to get the notes of rhubarb, saffron, ginger, and grapefruit. And really, I was alarmed to begin with because I saw ginger and grapefruit, and I thought to myself, like, oh my God, like, what is this? Another Tigar clone or something? Like another Tigar dupe? I just talked about Tigar. But really, it is not, okay? That is one thing I will say. It is not the ginger-grapefruit combination that you will be getting in Tigar. Right here, the strongest notes are going to be rhubarb as well as saffron. Okay, and they are counterbalanced by a nice bright grapefruit accord, as well as, you know, you have the nice aromatic ginger. I felt like this was a nice intro. This is actually the nicer part of this fragrance to me. This is my favorite part of the fragrance, simply because it is a balanced intro that gave me both uplifting, mood enhancing feels, something that I got at Torino 21, but then also it gave me the spices that I love in a nice aromatic fashion, balanced as well with a, you know, nice saffron, ginger, like lingering, spicy, aromatic feel. And with that being said, this intro is going to be to me, the highlight of this fragrance is going to be one of those that's going to, when you try it, this might give you that impact that you'll go, that's pretty damn good. Simply because it's a very balanced, uplifting, aromatic intro with a lot of the fragrance notes that we love, saffron being one of them for me, as well as grapefruit and a little bit of ginger right there in the intro of this fragrance. Okay, so now let's talk about initial sillage and projection of Torino 25. This one was actually strong. I mean, I didn't notice how strong it was, but taking into account a nice dose of saffron, the aroma in this fragrance, the spicy aroma definitely was strong, and some people were detecting it off of me really past 6 feet. And again, to me, it didn't feel much because I'm probably, maybe my nose was concentrating more on the uplifting notes, the sharp uplifting notes of grapefruit as well as the rhubarb. But I knew that the spices were going to be aromatic, just didn't know that it was going to be that strong. I did not expect that. But yes, it does have a nice central, and to me, initial sillage and projection is pretty strong on this one. Okay, so now let's head into the mid of this fragrance right here, Torino 25. Now, one of the chief notes right here in the mid is going to be leather, and this leather mixed with remnants of the saffron that bridges over in the beginning of the mid really creates, I would say, a classy tangent in this fragrance. That in the beginning, it's nice, it's fresh, balanced, aromatic, slightly warming, but then once the leather comes in, I would say maybe like 30 to 45 minutes in, you're going to get that classy tangent. This fragrance suddenly becomes really a straightforward, like classy scent thanks to that leather, which blends really well with the saffron that also has leathery properties. Although it's spicy and sweet, saffron does have leather properties that mix in very well with this leather. And what kind of leather are we getting? To me, it's black leather, okay, which I do not like. But here in Torino 25, it's not an overdose of black leather, but it is definitely a significant amount that is counterbalanced by some sweetness and some muskiness, okay? And with that leather comes the balancer, though, that continues the trend. And I gotta say that this is an important note, and that's gonna be juniper. Right? And juniper we have seen in a lot of fresh, spicy, green, aromatic fragrances. Many fragrances out there have juniper. I said Jupiter. But juniper is definitely fresh, spicy, green, aromatic. And that healthy dose of juniper here in the mid of this fragrance, in my opinion, creates that same balance that we got in the beginning of the fragrance, where we have some classic fall-winter notes. They're supposed to curve this fragrance dark, but you have these, like strong grapefruit, rhubarb notes, for example, in the opening, and then juniper here in the mid, fresh and green and piney, that counterbalance these notes like leather, for example. And that's precisely what it does. So that's the trend, really, that you're going to get almost like a fresh, spicy to fresh, piney green balancing, in the whole Torino fragrance, I would say front to mid. And with that being said, you have the juniper coming in, counterbalancing that leather. Now, with the saffron, bits of the saffron, remnants of the saffron coming into the mid, you're also going to get suede and sweet musk. So suede basically, essentially is also musk, but you get some sweet musk come in here in the mid, and that is going to be your sweet, your mildly sweet factor here in the mid of this fragrance right here. But nevertheless, guys, you're gonna get remnants of the saffron go into the mid, go into sweet musk, but at the end of the day, the leather is something that comes in significantly, creates a classy tangent with the counterbalance of some fresh piney juniper. Again, continuation of the trend that was started by the intro. So now let's talk about the dry down right here of Torino 25, and the dry down, I would say, starts around 6 to 7 hours into the fragrance, and you're still gonna get remnants of that leather coming to the dry down. I would say the dry down of this fragrance is anticlimactic. I don't see anything truly special with the dry down right here, because pretty much the sweet musk, the leather continues on. Really the green and smoky, earthy part of the fragrance, which is vetiver, is part of the dry down as well. But by that point, by the time that you smell that vetiver, you're already used to the rhubarb, you're already used to the juniper, and so it feels like a continuance, you know, green, earthy, slightly smoky towards the ending, you know, with musk, very, very light amber right here, light sweetness on the dry down. I would say it's more musky and, you know, green, earthy towards the end, still with some leather. That's how continuous that leather really was on this fragrance. So I would say not too crazy on the dry down. Really more of the interesting parts of Torino 25 are going to be on the intro part as well as the mid portion of that fragrance right here. Okay, so with all that being said, what do I think of Xerjoff's Torino 25? I think that this one's going to be a little bit more memorable than the other ones, simply because people might remember that initial like mood enhancing part of this fragrance, and maybe the continuance of the fresh spicy aspect of it continuing throughout. But to me, I like it because it is a balanced fragrance. It actually gives us the best of both worlds. It gives us the aromatic spices, it gives us the classy leather, which normally are reserved for fall winter fragrances, but they kind of maybe did an ode to Torino 21 by giving us something fresh, some really nice fresh balancers, green balancers that really, you know, take it to partially like uplifting. It's really interesting how you have like leather and musk notes, but then you also have an uplifting feel due to the juniper, due to the rhubarb and the grapefruit. You know, having that in this fragrance, I think, is really nice. And of course, saffron is going to be at the heart of it, in my opinion. That's really going to be the most likable part of this fragrance. Nice aromatic saffron, as you are smelling the uplifting parts of this fragrance, make the intro very likable. So I think this is one of those that when people try it out of a sample, or maybe go to the boutique or blind buy it, that first whiff, that first like, is going to be really nice, partially uplifting with spiciness. Okay, and of course this is to me a classy type of fragrance, simply because it's that leather, it's the musk, it's the suede that comes in the middle, and again with the juniper, which is usually used in a lot of gent scents, a lot of fresh spicy gent scents that also denote something classy. This fragrance definitely is going to be an upscale grabber, and that makes sense because, you know, this fragrance is a celebration of the trophy, right? That is the concept of this fragrance. It is a celebration of the trophy after winning the finals, a celebratory perfume. And with that being said, we can't have that being just a simple grabber. You are going to get upscale grabber qualities in this fragrance. In my opinion, that's what makes it a very nice fragrance. Now, is this fragrance unisex? That is a big question right there. I feel like it can be unisex, but to me, it's for men. Like that's how I feel. It's something that is very masculine, given that you have those green notes, you have juniper, you have vetiver, you have leather. There's only very slight unisex qualities in this fragrance that maybe it's in the beginning part, but then once the mid comes in, it's a lot more masculine, definitely. And I would say that this is going to be a gent scent with a nice, you know, sweet, spicy property in the beginning that some gents might like. And it's also a nice evening time, classy perfume. That's how I think it is. And the beginning part, sure, it may be like an anytime, anywhere, but the moment, like I said, the mid kicks in, I think it's classy, upscale, you know, dressed up really well, dressed classy type of fragrance on those types of venues. Okay, now let's talk about total performance on this fragrance right here. This fragrance, in my opinion, is an 11 to 12 hour scent. A lot of the power of this fragrance is delivered in the beginning. Okay, so it's got a strong sillage and projection in the beginning and kind of settles down at maybe the 6th or 7th hour of the scent. And like I said, to me, it's about 11 hours max total. It's not a super duper long lasting scent, but like I said, this is impact forward. This is more on the impact of the beginning and mid parts of the fragrance. That's where you'll get the strongest performance of this one. Okay, so finally, let's look at the cost of this fragrance right here, Torino 25, and is it a full bottle worthy fragrance? It's 252 euros, I believe, for 50 ml. And I know this is something we discussed on the last video, like, hey Troy, it's 50 ml though, you know, it's not 100 ml. I get it. It's less juice for more, technically it's more expensive. However, what I do not like is fragrances fragrance houses literally raising the bar. I think 252 is something people can do, and 50 ml does not go away so quickly. I have a lot of 50 ml bottles out there. They do not go away so quickly. They're not done, okay, at all. I've only had 2 bottles really run out, okay, and I can discuss that in a later video. However, guys, this one is 252 or euros or so for 50 ml. I think that's an entry, like people can actually buy it rather than putting a $500 price on 100 ml and keeping it as that. And also, you can try these right here, okay, for 20 euro. Like I said, I was able to get the entire sketchbook collection right here, which is like a 3K value set. I got the samples right here of the sketchbook fragrances as well as Torino25 for 20 something euro or dollars, $25 I think. So you guys can try it super cheaply if you would like, okay? And with that being said, I'm gonna say that this is a try first, but I think some people will like it. Okay, I think some people will like it simply because of the beautiful balance of having, like I said, fresh and green with some spicy aromatic notes and some classy leather. I can see some people really liking this. But in my opinion, try it first, because this one is not as simple as Torino 21, but it's not super complex either like the other Torino fragrances. I feel like this is right here in the middle. So at the end of the day, try it first. There's a very cost-effective way of doing that at Xerjoff. Try this, but it's a beautiful fragrance to me. And that is it. That is my no hype review on the latest and sadly the last Torino from the series, Xerjoff Torino25. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think of this fragrance right here. Did you guys like it or not like it? Or how does this rank in the Torino series? Is this really a close second to Torino 21, or is this the best? And actually, I kind of peeked into other reviewers to see what they thought of this fragrance, and seemed like some of them were pretty like struggling to explain it. And that's because, like I said, it is a juxtaposition. It does have the freshness in the, you know, the freshness that Torino 21 gave us, fresh and green, but at the same time, like that classy, darker tangent, that nighttime tangent. That's why you can't really say it's a spring fragrance, you know. I saw some reviewers struggling on this, and that makes sense because this is a very balanced fragrance that has the best of both worlds, fresh and at the same time nighttime classy dark gradient. You know, it had those two worlds in one, which is something that I do appreciate on Torino 25 right here. So let me know in the comments below what y'all think of this fragrance. And again, Xerjoff wise, I'm gonna go with P70. That fragrance blew my mind when I was at the 6th floor of Harrods when I was there. Tried that over and over, couldn't let go of it. Thank God they were selling samples, because I will do that next in terms of Xerjoff, okay? So thank you so much for watching. Oh, also, the Louis XV rose. Amazing as well. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. I'll get that other one as well soon. If you like Xerjoff, I got an entire library of them here in this channel, you know, from 5 years ago even. So please check those videos out. I will see you guys on the next video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. God bless, take care, peace.